After 6 years of marriage, my wife suggested we open our relationship. Instead, I filed for divorce and cut off her access to my $12,000 monthly income. I'm 37, serving in the Marine Corps as a logistics officer, and I've known Sharon, 39, for a decade. I'm usually deployed for 6 to 7 months every year. My career pays well, around $120,000 annually with benefits and combat pay, so we've always been financially stable. Back in 2014, we met at a cookout through mutual friends. At that point, I was already in the Marines, and Sharon was working as an elementary school teacher, making about $45,000 yearly. Unlike others I had dated, she didn't seem to be chasing military perks. She grew up in a military household. Her father served 25 years, so she understood the lifestyle. She had her own career, was independent, and didn't give off the vibe of someone just looking for benefits. After 4 years of dating, we tied the knot in a beautiful ceremony surrounded by loved ones. Her father, a veteran himself, was happy to welcome another serviceman into the family. The early years of marriage were everything I could have asked for. Sharon supported my career wholeheartedly and was proud of my service. When I was home, we enjoyed our time together, and when I was deployed, she kept herself occupied with teaching, her book club, and spending time with other military spouses. We maintained a routine, weekly video dates, care packages, and visits when I hit port. I bought her a 4-bedroom house in a nice neighborhood near her school, kept her in updated cars every few years, and ensured she was comfortable. She always said the sacrifices were worth it, and she seemed genuinely happy as a military spouse. We did talk about having kids, but agreed to wait until I could land a desk job. She didn't want to raise them largely alone while I was away. Everything was solid until it wasn't. Sharon started hanging around new friends she met through yoga, most of them single or divorced. Suddenly, she was going out more often, dinners, upscale lounges, clubs, places we used to go together. She also became more focused on her appearance, splurging on clothes, getting her hair done often, and hiring a personal trainer at a gym. I thought she was just treating herself with the money I earned. Looking back, those were clear warning signs. Then one evening during a regular video call, she dropped a bomb. "Let's open our marriage." At first, I thought she was joking. She wasn't. She said she'd been considering it for a while and believed it was the best path forward. According to her, no woman could go 6 months without intimacy, and she was tired of handling deployments. She wanted physical closeness, claiming she was living as if she were single most of the time. Hearing her reduce our entire marriage to nothing more than sex cut me deeply. After a decade together, 6 of them married, she blindsided me like this. I tried to stay calm and thanked her for her efforts to hold down the home while I was gone. I reminded her that this distance was part of my career, something we both knew from the start. Yes, we had spoken about transitioning me to a desk role, but it hadn't worked out yet, and honestly, I love what I do. She used to be on board with that, until recently. When I tried reasoning with her, she got defensive. I suggested we talk about it later when emotions cooled, but she insisted on resolving it immediately. She cried about being lonely, spending birthdays and anniversaries alone, going to doctor appointments by herself. I do understand it's hard. I miss those moments too. But this is exactly what she signed up for. People once told us to have kids early so she'd have company during deployments, but she wasn't ready to raise them alone. I respected that. It wouldn't have been fair to put that burden solely on her. But now I wonder if waiting only made her loneliness worse. Still, suggesting an open marriage. No, I asked if she was leaving me. She said, "No, I love you. I could never leave you. I want to grow old with you, but I'm almost 40. In a few years, menopause will hit. I don't have much time left to enjoy my sexuality. Half my prime years are wasted waiting for you. I don't want to die with regrets." She had never spoken so bluntly about sex before. Yes, our physical connection was strong whenever I was home. We even used toys and video calls during deployments. She never once complained it wasn't enough, until now. And she wasn't asking for permission. She was informing me of her plan. I asked what exactly she wanted. She looked right at me and said, "I want to open this marriage and be with other men. I have needs and they have to be met. I'm doing this whether you agree or not." The woman I married, the one who vowed faithfulness, was now telling me she'd sleep with other men and I'd just have to live with it. I asked her, "So you want to hook up with other men and still be married to me?" She nodded. I then asked how that solved her loneliness. Would these men care for her during illness, celebrate her birthdays, be there at milestones? She said she wasn't sure, It might be just physical, maybe dating, but she insisted she loved only me. The others would just fill in until I came back. Basically, she expected me to accept sharing her. I pressed her further. For how long? A few years? Forever? She hadn't decided. I asked if she had already cheated. She snapped. If I wanted to cheat, I wouldn't be asking you. I'm being honest, which is better than lying. Twisted logic, if you ask me. I asked if I had any say. She said her mind was made up. If she didn't do this, she'd lose it. Then she abruptly hung up. What made it worse? I had only been gone 3 or 4 weeks after spending 3 solid months with her. During that time, everything seemed perfect. We took a second honeymoon in Hawaii, renovated the house as she wanted, and even talked about trying for a baby next year. She was affectionate, always discussing our future. The day I left, she was devastated, already making plans for my next return. We had even started saving specifically for our future child. I was looking into nearby base postings to spend more time at home. That's how committed I was to our family plans. When I asked her the next day why she didn't mention any of this earlier, she said she didn't feel the urge when I was around. That's when it clicked. She must have met someone new, maybe at her gym or through her single friends. The timing was too suspicious. Right before I deployed, she kept bringing up this new personal trainer who was motivating her. At the time, I brushed it off. Now, feels like she had it planned. My buddy Mike went through nearly the same thing last year. His wife asked for an open marriage while he was deployed, but it turned out she was already seeing someone. They ended up divorced. I asked Sharon if this was truly what she wanted and if she thought about the long-term impact. She immediately said yes, without hesitation, as if all the planning and promises from just weeks ago meant nothing. So I pressed her on specifics. Could I see other women? How would finances work? Her answers revealed just how selfish this whole thing was. She said she hadn't thought about logistics. She just wanted someone else to take care of her needs while I was gone. When I returned, it would be just us. She even claimed I could mess around at port if I wanted, but not at home. She'd be there, so it wasn't allowed. Basically, she wanted freedom, but none for me. That was the breaking point. I told her I didn't sign up for this. I wanted a monogamous marriage, but since you've decided, I won't stop you. Just know there will be consequences. She smirked and asked, "Like what?" I calmly told her. 1. She'd cover her own expenses. No more joint account money. 2, we'd cut off communication. I wouldn't take her calls while she was busy with other men. 3, I might start seeing other women with no restrictions from her. She actually laughed, saying I'd eventually join her idea, that it would be fun. Then she teased, "You won't leave a beauty like me," and even began undressing on camera. I shut it down and said, "My rules start now. Enjoy yourself." Then I ended the call. That was it. I was done. She kept calling and texting, but I ignored everything. Soon she began posting mystery date nights on social media, hot tub photos with 2 glasses, candlelit dinners, vacation snapshots without showing the guy. Obvious. Her sister even messaged me, asking if I knew what Sharon was doing. I told her flat out. Sharon decided to open our marriage without my consent because she's lonely between her legs. Sharon blew up my phone after that, but I didn't care. My shore leave is next week, and my brother has already found me an apartment. I told my parents and him everything, and I've hired a lawyer to begin divorce proceedings. I'm not rushing. It'll be done properly, and I'll make sure she regrets it. If you've read this far, thank you. Update 1. Before I share what happened on leave, let me address something. A lot of people immediately sympathize with wives of servicemen. Poor woman, she's alone so much. Or, what about her needs? Meanwhile, I'm painted as the villain for not understanding her. Yes, being married to someone in the military is tough, but she wasn't forced into this marriage. She chose it, fully aware of the lifestyle. Let me paint the full picture. She lives in a 4-bedroom house with a pool, something impossible on her salary. She drives a BMW I gifted her last Christmas. She owns Louis Vuitton luggage and a Cartier watch that costs more than her monthly paycheck. She gets her hair done at upscale salons, goes on yoga retreats, and never worries about bills. Every summer we take trips to Europe or the Caribbean. She lived like royalty, yet claimed she was miserable. And here's something people ignore. It's not easy for us military men either. When we dock at ports worldwide, we're surrounded by temptation. Women throw themselves at soldiers in uniform, and many don't care about wedding rings. My buddies joke I could have a girlfriend in every country. But I've always stayed faithful because marriage means commitment. Not all of us cheat. Many of us fight temptation daily, but nobody applauds our loyalty. Instead, we're assumed guilty. Anyway, back to what happened when I came home. I didn't return to our house. I couldn't bear sleeping in the same bed she shared with others. My brother had already set me up in a new luxury apartment building. I spent my first few days with him and his family. My sister-in-law was furious when she learned what Sharon had done. They used to be close once, my family and Sharon. That's why it cut deep when I had to take my niece and nephew camping alone, making up excuses when they asked why Aunt Sharon wasn't there. I smiled for them, but inside, I felt the sting of everything she had destroyed. Back in my hometown, old friends and even relatives admitted they had never really trusted her. I didn't post about it out of spite, but I made sure people saw I wasn't sitting at home sulking. My life was moving forward without her, and honestly, that drove Sharon insane. During my shore leave, I attended the military's exclusive social events, the kind of high society gatherings Sharon used to crave. Generals, politicians, wealthy donors, the whole deal. She loved flaunting herself there in her designer dresses, basking in the attention. This time I went without her. I uploaded photos surrounded by colleagues, even some brilliant women, lawyers, doctors, entrepreneurs, people who had achieved real success. The moment Sharon saw those pictures, her mask cracked. First, she texted me like nothing had happened, asking where I was staying, telling me she'd give me space. Then she saw the party photos. That's when the desperate calls started. Long, rambling voicemails at 2 a.m. about how she missed our life and how the other men didn't matter. I didn't reply, not once. Months later, when I finally broke the silence, I told her plainly, "You did what you wanted. Now I'm doing what I want." She couldn't stand it. Suddenly, the woman who pushed for freedom was terrified I might move on. She begged to meet in person, claimed she was ready to end her games. She even showed up at my apartment one morning, blonde hair, new figure, dressed like she was 25 again. She thought a makeover could erase betrayal. I told her the truth. I will never live under the same roof with someone who chose strangers over our marriage. She collapsed, crying about how she had been blacklisted by the very women she used to call her best friends. Nobody invited her shopping, no spa trips, no charity galas. Every door she once walked through closed the second she became the wife who couldn't stay loyal while her husband was deployed. Her desperation was pathetic. Through tears, she asked if I had met someone new. I laughed. She was the one who wanted other people, yet now she was jealous at the thought of me moving on. That was the moment I realized this wasn't about love. It was about control. She didn't want me, she just didn't want me living happily without her. My lawyer had already drawn up the divorce papers. When she discovered she was officially being served, she lost it, calling me a traitor, claiming I had blindsided her. She even phoned my parents to paint herself as the victim. That ended quickly. They cut her off the same day. Then her mother called. Apparently Sharon had told her entire family that our open marriage was a joint decision. I corrected that lie immediately. I never wanted it. It was her fantasy alone. Her mother begged me to consider her mental health, to forgive and start fresh. But I was done. I reminded her that her daughter's choices weren't just mistakes, they were deliberate. Sharon wanted her cake and to eat it too. Now she had nothing left. By the time the court dates rolled around, Sharon was a wreck. The men she chased, gone. The money, spent. Her teacher's salary barely covered rent. Never mind the designer lifestyle she thought would last forever. At one hearing, she actually broke down sobbing, admitting she wished she could rewind the last year and erase everything. But you can't erase betrayal. The divorce is nearly final. The house is being sold. She can't afford to keep it anyway. And me? I've built something new, an apartment of my own, a steady routine, a life without lies. Sharon still tries to reach me. She creates fake accounts to stalk my social media where she sees me smiling, living, moving forward. I let her watch. Let her see exactly what she threw away. Her posts now are nothing but sad quotes about regret and second chances. Once, she was the woman flashing Cartier watches and sipping champagne at five-star resorts. Now, she's alone, begging for a past that doesn't exist anymore. And I'll be honest, sometimes I smile when I see it, not out of spite but out of relief because she wanted an open life. Now she has it, empty, cold, regretful, and I'm finally free. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to leave a comment, hit subscribe, follow for more, and turn on the bell icon so you never miss the next one.